This video will show you how to add stitching to the shirt. So we'll start off first of all with something simple. I'll select the cuff, and as you can see it's grouped, so I'm going to just go to group selection because I don't want to really ungroup it, and then select the cuff. Having selected the cuff, I'm going to go into Object, Path, Offset Path, and I'm going to make my offset path minus or subtract 0.5 of a millimeter and just go to preview to check it. And I'm happy with that, so I go OK, and I'm going to remove the fill. So what this has done is it's offset my path so that it sits within the other path quite evenly at 0.5. For my stitching, I like to use a brush stroke, so I'm going to use my single needle brush over here. Have a look at the single needle video to know how to do this. And I don't really need the side seam line, so I'm just moving the stitch line all the way to the edge of the cuff. I like to make the stitching line weight either at 0.75 or 0.5. Direct selection, object, path, offset path, minus 0.5, OK. We'll select the stitching first, change the weight, and now go in and delete those two lines. Holding Shift, I'm selecting both those anchor points and bringing that line down. I can use my line segment tool over here and I don't want to have any stitching in my fill. Selecting both of those using Shift, Object, Path, Offset Path. We know that that's fine. Single needle brush, 0.5 and no fill. Get rid of the lines down the side. Delete, delete, and extend those lines to the side of the cuff. Zooming out. So what you'll notice is that everything is still grouped and still grouped. I'll do the same with the collar. I'll actually select both of those collars, but not the collar stand in the front, just the collar stand at the back. Object, path, offset path, so you can see how the same process applies to everything. I don't need that line or that line because those are both folds, and the edge, no fill. And over here we don't actually need, we'll leave both lines in over there. Hemline. What I'm going to do for the hemline is the following. I'm going to select that anchor point, edit copy, edit paste in front, and this time I'm going to move it up, so Command K just by 1 millimeter, 0.5 as well, because that's what I've done with everything else, and just move that up a little bit. I'm going to the stitching, 0.5, and removing the fill. And I'll just bring that in a tiny little bit over there. So with my direct selection, I select that anchor point, Control C, Control F, or Command C, Command F. I'll move that up a little bit I'll go and make that a 1 needle stitch, 0.5, selection tool, drag that in and remove the fill from that line. I'll do the same with the back. Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Copy in front, move that up, and there you have the stitching. Over here we actually will make another copy of that line, so Alt and remove the stitching from that line. And so there you have it, looking a bit like it's a rolled hem. So that's the stitching done. The next thing I'll do are the buttons. To do that, I'm going to first of all create a button. I use my ellipse tool, hold Shift to create a circle. I'm going to have a fill-in stroke in it, and I'm going to make my stroke once again 0.5. I'm just going to draw in a stitch line using the center as a guide, and I'll make that round caps. I'm going to copy that with a reflection, so reflect tool, holding Alt and Shift, I reflect it, select both of those and group. And once again, I'm going to just use the line segment tool to make the button. You can see how it's all a little bit crooked. I'm going to just align them in the center like that. Arrange, bring to front. Actually might make that a little bit smaller, it looks a little big there. And group. So button and buttonhole. I like to keep a copy of that button, so I'll just keep a copy aside, and I'll put one button in the center front over there. I'll put another button at the collar. So I've got the center of the button on the center of the collar. I'm going to rotate it. So again, I'll move my rotate fulcrum to the center of the button and rotate that button so that the buttonhole runs in line with the collar stand. I now need to bring the collars on top. So I've selected them all using Shift. I'll just group them, arrange, bring to front, and zoom out a little. So now I've got my cuff, my button for my cuff, and my buttons for my center front. Let's have a look here and see how many buttons are on this garment.